Welcome back, Camden Catholic. So, we left off in class. Happy Memorial Day weekend. We left off in class talking about lead up to World War I. We talked about the main causes of World War I being militarism so far with economic competition, the alliance systems, right, Central Powers and the Allies. We talked about, hi Josie, we talked about imperialism, and we talked about the naval arms race, so the dreadnoughts and the U-boats invented by each respective side. And then last thing, that was it. Okay, so let's get back into it though. So nationalism was also a huge contributor to the cause of World War I. Now, as you know, we talked about earlier on in the course, nationalism became like a trend in the 1800s, right? What we called like the Oprah Winfrey effect. And you get a country, and you get a country, and you get a country. And a lot of this has led up to just cultural differences, and especially due to Slavs versus non-Slavs in the early 1900s. So, now, for example, though, this has kind of devolved from nationalism and has actually pushed more towards the jingoist side, okay? So, for example, this is a quote written by A.P.J. Taylor, and he said that, for example, the outbreak of war was greeted by cheering crowds in Berlin, Vienna, and Paris. The people of Europe leapt willingly into war. So, what is that quote trying to tell you? Good job, Andrew. It's trying to say that like the countries were so nationalistic and so prideful and had so much jingoistic feelings that they were excited to go to war when war finally broke out. And most people also thought the war wasn't going to last very long. But we always think that, don't we? So, now looking at this region right here on the map, this is what we were referring to as the Balkan States, right? Now, with these Balkan States, this is where Slavs and Poles live, right? So this is like the area of the world that was controlled by other empires, the Austro-Hungarian Empire controlling all of this, and the Ottoman Empire controlling all of this. Like, they controlled all of those areas of people that weren't like them at all by cultural descent, right? So, for example, the Ottomans based their culture mainly in Turkish culture after the Turks took over Constantinople way back during the Middle Ages. And then the Austro-Hungarians don't really even, like, you might as well just drop the Hungarian part of it. They consider themselves much more greater Germans, Austrians, right? And they also just kind of use most of the Habsburg ideals. Now, ironically enough, this is an up-to-date map. And if you look right here at how big Austria is now and how big Germany is now, who's the greater German now? All right, anyway, so, but out of all these countries right here and all these different people and all these different cultures, which one of those little guys do you think is going to be the leading cause, like the leading group, the leading country that's going to kind of push the European continent into World War I? I'll give you a minute. Good job, Peter. That's right, little Serbia right down here, right? Serbia and its capital, Belgrade, are going to be the leading, like the people that drug Europe into this war, right? Now, it probably would have happened regardless eventually, but the group that was sanctioned outside of them is one of the big leading causes, though. Yes, sweetheart. Sorry, my wife's throwing answers out that she already thinks she knows things about history. Now, anyway. But another leading cause that she probably doesn't know about is called Pan-Slavism. Do you know what Pan-Slavism is, sweetheart? In the early 1900s? Good job, sweetheart! It's the belief that all Slavic people should unify and defend one another, mainly led by the Russians, right? Now, a big sidebar to this is that a lot of these Slavic groups, like Serbs, oh no, wait, there's more? Yes. Slav is an umbrella term for a lot of other types of people. Like, for example, all Serbs are Slavs, but not all Slavs are Serbs. All right? So anyway, so Serbs was a big group. Romanians, Bulgarians, like all these different kinds of Slovaks, Czechs, like they're all considered Slavs, but they're not all the same type of Slav, right? So these people also wanted their own countries as well. Now, but many South Slavic nations were oppressed by Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. But the Pan-Slavism movement was the idea that they all deserved their own area and to be controlled by themselves or by other Slavic people. So, ironically enough, if you really looked at it and Austria just kind of gave them all up, Russia might have just kind of consumed them into their empire. Now, let's keep going, though. So, a lot of this tension is going to result in these things called the Balkan Wars, right? The Balkan Wars are going to be some predecessors to World War I, which if you really look at it, it's kind of like, how come that didn't lead to World War I? But a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's just these large empires trying to control areas within their realm, right? But it's going to fuel tensions in the South Slavic states, and it was encouraged by nationalism. The Ottoman Empire was losing small Balkan nations, right? So this right here is a map of the Balkans after the First Balkan War. Now, as you can see, the Ottomans used to own Romania, Serbia, Bulgaria, Montenegro, and Greece, but after the Balkan Wars, they gave up this entire area. And also, some of you are like, how did these little guys actually, like push forward and like demand independence for themselves? Well, they did have a lot of help from the Russians. But as you can see, the Ottomans are losing area. And the funny enough thing, the only area that the Ottomans even cared about in World War I, the reason why they never really invaded anywhere else, just kind of held down the home front, was this tiny little waterway right there called the Strait of Dardanelles. So we'll get into that a little bit later on, though. But as you can see, Austria-Hungary, though, still controls a huge amount of Slavic people. Transylvanians, Hungarians, Croatians, Bosnians, a lot of different people. Now, Bosnia and Serbia at this time were really, really good friends, and a lot of Serbs lived in Bosnia. Now, this is going to present a large issue to most Serbians because they believe Serbs should actually be independent, right? Let's keep going, though. Anyway, what is this thing right here? Good job. It's a powder keg, right? So powder keg is actually what is that? Metaphorical? If I said like it's like a nickname, would it be like a metaphorical name for an area? Sorry, she's teaching English. Maria?
What?
If the area in the Balkans was called the powder keg leading into World War I, what kind of name is that? Allegorical? Kind of. It's a nickname. It's a nickname, apparently. So we'll use the regular people words. Now, anyway, so the powder keg was what the Balkan states became known as leading up to World War I because everyone said they were ready to explode into war at any minute, right? So, very important. Circle that, highlight it, underline it, all that stuff, okay? But, take Me Out, right? So, for any of you who haven't heard the song Take Me Out by the British band Franz Ferdinand, it's actually historically aptly named, and it was their big hit single during the early thousands. Great song, big fan. Now, but the war started though with the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. Now, really, really quickly, some of you are saying to yourself, Archduke, what is that? Oh, he's second in line. He's the next up. The current king of Austria during this time period is a man by the name of Franz Joseph, okay? That's his uncle, and this is Franz Ferdinand, his nephew. And they are both still what family? Good job, Josh Barnes, Habsburgs, right? So anyway, Bosnia was under the control of Austria, and many Serbs and Slavs live in Bosnia, okay? And especially in the capital city of Bosnia, spelled Sarajevo. All right, Sarajevo, Sarajevo, all right? Now, they all viewed the Austrians as oppressors. No matter how hard the Austrians tried to, play like they were nice to them, they always viewed Austrians as bad guys. Hold on, focus back. There we go. So they always viewed Austrians as oppressors. So now an oppressor, of course, is one who holds down another with force. So a Serbian nationalist group, though, is going to create itself. A lot of people for a long time have called this a terrorist organization, and they kind of are, but they're called the Black Hand, and they sought to assassinate or kill the Archduke, or one member of the royal Austrian family, regardless. Now, they have been up to this for a long time. A lot of people were like, wow, this group just popped up and then just went after this one guy. No. They almost single-handedly controlled the Serbian government. After the Serbians broke away from the Ottoman Empire after the First Balkan War, they were, Serbia's government was corrupt and was, fraught with kidnappings from the Black Hand, terrorist threats, bombings, all kinds of stuff. The Black Hand actually kidnapped the son of the Serbian king at the time at one point and held him for ransom so they could get initiatives that they wanted passed. So they've been around. It's a very large group. They're not like a little ragtag group of people. However, one thing that's very, very interesting is much like many terrorist organizations like your ISIS or something like that today, they do prey upon the young. They wanted young recruits. And that's why the man who's going to be responsible for assassinating the Archduke was only 19 when he did it. All right. So now, the Archduke, though, was set to visit Bosnia in June 28, 1914. Now, June 28th, very important date. The small amount of time it's going to take to go from nothing to worldwide war is pretty phenomenal. So, keep that in mind. So, in June 28th, 1914, he was planned to go and visit Sarajevo in Bosnia. Now, what's the point of him visiting these areas? Is to make Austria look good. Now, here's the irony. I'm going to back it out real quick. I'm going to let you see what this guy looks like. Where's he at? Come on over. There we go. Oh, wait, nope. That's Clemenceau. That's the president of France. That's Franz Joseph. We're going to talk about it. All right. That's Franz Ferdinand right there. Normal guy. Pretty chill. Actually divulged into shouting matches with his uncle all the time because they hated each other, because they didn't agree politically. And a big reason of that is that Franz actually was very liberal. He was very Napoleonic in the sense of new ideas. He actually thought that, look, we can just keep Austria and Hungary and still have a very powerful empire without controlling or oppressing these other smaller countries. That's why one of his big missions was to actually go around and try to make Austria look as good as he possibly could. He wanted to try and spread the goodwill of the Habsburg family, not necessarily view them as oppressors. So he's a nice guy. He didn't deserve to get shot, but you know what? Sometimes nice people get shot, I guess, in history anyway. So now, that is him and his wife, Sophie, on the day of their parade. Now, this is about a few hours before he got shot. So as you can see, his objective in the parade was make Austria look good, right? Shake some hands, be nice, try to make the Habsburg family look as if they're providing a service to the Bosnians, not the other way around. So, Plan A, and this is where we're going to stop and we'll leave you on a cliffhanger, but Plan A for the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was actually to use 6 people. And 5 of those guys were going to slow down the car, like boo, boo, and slow down the car during the parade. And then one of them was going to take a single grenade, run up to the edge of the car, and dunk it into the cab of the car. Because look what happens when you ride an open convertible. Maybe JFK should have read a actual history book. Because it's not the first person to be assassinated outside of a convertible. The King of Scotland was assassinated outside of a convertible. Several African kings were assassinated inside of convertibles. So anyway, but the Black Hand assembled 6 assassins to slow the motorcade down, and then we're going to dunk the grenade in his car. And I'm going to tell you the rest of the story on Tuesday. All right, so enjoy yourself. Enjoy your Memorial Day. I'll see y'all then. Camden Catholic.